So what have you been doing since uni? Where
what
have
I been doing?
Where have you been hiding?
Yeah. So uni's like this really interesting thing that is really, really great. And I'm so glad that I went. Part of my head though has been trying to like shake off the idea that I went to uni, only because like, I think growing up, uni just seemed like we all grow up in different places, and like within different cultures and stuff. And I guess where I grew up, the culture was like, go to uni, like this is the way, this is how you do it. You do uni, then you get your job, you do uni. I didn't know anyone that had done anything different. So it was just like, it just felt like the default choice. And so yeah, by the end of uni, I kind of realized that I think so much of my life got changed through listening to podcasts, just the way that I saw things, because I like hearing so many people talk about their stories and talk about how they had to go against the grain, all of this stuff, that led me to eventually see that, okay, like my life is similar. Like I got to go against what people kind of expect of you to go and do. So after university, I was just like, what's the one thing I want to do with my life? I want to be a big time rapper. That's the one thing that I want to do. So I've just been knuckled down on that, like figuring it out just every single day, figuring out content, figuring out how to put out music, figuring out how to promote the music. And I've been trying to figure that shit out for years, but it was only when everything stopped and I was really able to be like, okay, I get up, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this. I don't do anything else. I'm not partying. I'm not like distracting myself with anything. This is what I'm doing. And so ever since uni, I've literally just been figuring out how to make it in music.
So when you say this, what are you actually doing? Like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
What's the life of a aspiring
What's the life?
musician?
So you want to be a music artist. Okay, so you get up, you get out of bed. What do you do? I go to the gym.
What time are we saying?
5:30.
5:30.
Every single day. And sometimes, like on those rare occasions, you mess up and you get annoyed at yourself. But every single day, it's 5:30 a.m. Get to the gym, put the work in. Just it hurts like fuck, but you go and do it. Anyways, what is this? What am I doing? I basically just do researching, reading about other artists, watching podcasts, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, learning about how this music stuff works. Like you figure out what has to be done to achieve what you want. And for me, there was a period of time, I called it 6 after 6. I identified 4 activities that were going to be the activities that were going to bring me to where I wanted to be. And I basically did 6 hours of one, and then straight after that, 6 hours the next, and straight after that, 6 hours the next, and 6 hours and 6 hours and 6 hours. And I just repeated that 6 hours after 6 hours, doing nothing else apart from that. Obviously, have your lunch break or whatever. And
there isn't that many 6 hours in a day.
I know, but that's just how my brain saw this repetition. And I know I keep on bringing out, like waffling, like with little stories. But what that included was putting out and creating new songs. That was one of the activities. Another one was learning meta ads. So I learned how to run meta ads. And now I say I'm very confident with meta ads with song promotion. Another one was creating content. And then the other one was distributing that content. And those were 4 activities that I just ran on a repeat cycle. And that's
how much of that is also learning how to get over the step ladder that you got.
Get over the step ladder.
You practicing that in your garden before you get out to London?
I did actually practice that. There's videos on my phone of me practicing that, like the whole figuring out how to use the speaker, figuring out how I'm going to film it, all of that stuff. There's videos on my phone of me in like car parks and me in the park at like 5 a.m, figuring out how this speaker works and how to connect a microphone to a speaker and all this stuff. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Where's that idea come from? Going to London
with a ladder. So the whole idea of the ladder came from, I tried to put up a billboard in 2025. At the start of 2025, I tried to put up my own big billboard, like a full-on big one, like not a small one. And that endeavor led me to figuring out, learning how to put up a billboard, what equipment you need, what kit you need.
What, just you putting it up anywhere or
just
buying the space?
Like I figured out, I was like, how much will it cost me? And I emailed one of the people that organised it, and they're like, it's going to cost you $1,000, mate, for like 1 week. And I was like, fuck that. And
so you're going to put your own billboard
I decided, I knew which billboard, and it was a full-on big billboard. I forgot what the term is, but big one. And I was like, okay, that's the kit I need. And I ordered all of the kit. Sorry, I haven't done like a podcast, like whatever, apart from my desktop. So like all these stories. But basically, I wasn't going to pay the £1,000 to put up a billboard. So I ordered all the kit that I would need, like the sheets of paper. I got these huge printouts of my face because that was the song that I was trying to promote, and like the ladder, and I had the ladder, and I basically went, I did a practice rehearsal, cool, I put up a sheet of paper, then I ran back home, and then the next day at like 3 a.m, I set my alarm, and I was going to go and do probably an illegal activity and put this billboard up, and then I left my ladder there, like a huge ladder. It was like my dad's ladder. It was like this massive one. And then I was like, oh shit, I need to grab something from the house. And because the billboard wasn't that far from my house, I put the ladder to one side, gone back to my house to grab something, came back, and then my huge ladder in like 5 minutes had disappeared. I was like, fuck, someone's stolen this ladder in like 5 minutes at 3 a.m. Someone's stolen this ladder, and I had no idea what to do. So my best idea was, okay, there's 4 ways they could have gone. I just need to pick one.
It must have been quite easy to spot if they're carrying a massive ladder.
Yeah. I had no idea he would have taken it. So my best bet was just run in one direction and hope I catch up with whoever's stolen it. I didn't catch up with them, and someone stole my ladder. But nonetheless, eventually, a few years later on, I had to use a ladder in the house to help me like prop up a camera. And then just because I'd always had ladder in my mind, because like I'd lost the ladder, I had to buy ladders to like make it up with my father because it was his ladder. And then, so we had ladders in the house because I overbought the ladders because I didn't want to.
You overbought?
Ladders.
How many ladders did you buy?
I got 2, willing to get 3 because I didn't want to piss him off. And so I was like, what ladder do you want? And then he was like, okay, well, we'll have that one. I was like, okay, cool. I'll take that one back to the shop. And then the one I took back to the shop, like, we ain't taking this back. You've already bought it. You could have damaged it. So I had to keep this other ladder. And then, so that ladder's just been sitting in the house. And then I was like, how can I turn this bad into a good? And then eventually that kind of led me to have the idea of, okay, how can I stand out? I can stand out by fucking standing on a ladder. So I'm super tall, so people see me, like if someone's on a ladder, you're probably gonna look at them. And then with the chip on my shoulder of like someone's stolen my ladder and I want something good to come out of this, I guess that's kind of forced forward that this fucking ladder thing of me just using a ladder to stand out and all of this stuff. So that is what has sparked these things of me going to London, standing on a ladder and performing. And also that is done because it's fucking scary doing that. The first time I did it, I felt fucking like you're in this public space and I got these guys that I've brought with me to like help, and I've put them in like things that look like bulletproof vests, and like I've got this huge speaker. I'm going to make this peaceful public space, like I'm going to turn it into this, like me performing on a ladder. And yeah, so that was like super scary, but that's the thing in life, like you find what scares you and then go and do it. And yeah, so I was scared, did the ladder stuff, and now I do it, and it's helped me be a lot more like just not even any concern about whatever anyone, not even whatever anyone thinks about me. It's more like we all have it in us where we think that people are like thinking of us and like looking at us weirdly. And so I guess I'm not doing it for anyone. I'm doing it for me because I know that is something that has been in me of being like, oh, like I don't want to look like this or look like that. But like all that stuff that I've been doing is like leaning into that feeling to, I guess, heal's probably the wrong word, but like correct to that concern and anxiety that I guess all of us have. And things like signing strangers up to banks and standing on ladders and jumping over fences is me, I guess, finding that pain point that, oh, I'm scared to do this, but then doing it anyway. And then you're no longer scared to do it because you realize you haven't died after. So now I've got no issue going anywhere and standing on a ladder and performing. But yeah, like you find the things that scare you and then do them until they don't scare you anymore. And that is, I guess, the premise of lots of things that I do.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And I think a lot of people connect to that because I've certainly found that this year I want to do more stuff that like scares me and push those boundaries. Have you got any advice for people that are kind of worried to make that first step? I know you say just do it.
Yeah.
When you get those butterflies, what's your kind of
advice?
You must get that performing as well, I guess.
Yeah, you do. So first of all, disclaimer, I am in no way the expert of fucking anything, but this is just the advice I guess I give myself a few years ago. And that is just whatever, obviously within reason, but whatever that thing is that scares you, they're asking a girl out, asking a boy out, like fucking doing this or doing that, or like just find that thing that scares you. Obviously nothing that's going to risk your life, and just like you need to figure out a way to just do it because it's so hard to do things. So like literally like just like period, so hard to do things because people just love speaking and distracting themselves with whatever it is, but actually doing stuff so few people do stuff in life. And I guess this brings me to a point that I think lots of people, I guess, that are pursuing like some kind of big thing, like people, there's a lot of loneliness in it, because you realize eventually after pursuing it for so long, that there's very few people that want success and want to achieve things in life. And that isn't to come across as judgmental at all, because people like achieve things in life in their own way. But I guess in the way that I'm trying to achieve things, there's very few people that are like that obsessed and that serious to make something make one specific thing happen. And in that pursuit of achieving, you just realize that you're alone in this. It's complete. You're going to be completely alone, 'cause it's your life. Yeah. So again, I've gone off on a tangent, but anyways, you're gonna feel anxious, scared, all of these things, but you just need to figure out a way to just do it anyway, whatever it is.